Good evening and welcome to the regular session of council. It is Thursday, June the 5th, 2025, 7 p.m. and I will call this meeting to order. I'll remind members of disclosures of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Seeing none noted. Section 3, review of items not listed on the agenda. Thomas, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have a few items tonight. We've got reports TR 14 and 15 from the Treasurer regarding banking services and municipal auditor appointment. There are corresponding bylaws with each of these reports. We also have two reports from myself, CAO 27 and 28. One is a letter of support for the Health and Safety Water Systems grant application, and another one is an information report regarding a site plan agreement for Tito's Pizza in Vienna.
Right, thank you for that. Moving down to announcements. Any announcements from council members? Councillor Chilcott.
Thank you. I just wanted to remind everyone that this weekend is Edison Fest, so we'll hope you all show up. It's opening ceremonies are at 10, and we have the Indigenous dancers at 2 o'clock. There will be bouncy houses, face painting, games, lots of things for everyone to do, and we will also have some vendors there with their crafts, and of course, hamburgers and hot dogs for all. So we hope to see you there.
All right, just clarification. I thought it was 9:30 for the opening, but it's 10. I'm the okay.
At 9.
Oh. And I also understand there's a new event for the dignitaries this year.
Yes, there is an axe throwing contest, not the real one, not the real axe, and not battle axes either. Just throw the axe.
Councillor Emerson was getting really excited about this one.
My aim is really bad.
And the customary skunk will be there as well.
Of course.
Oh, good. Chances are high.
Now you've got me worried about the start time. Continue on.
Tell everyone to show up at 9:30 so that they can be there for sure. My understanding is that vendors will be opening at 9.
Yes.
Okay. Thomas, you have an announcement?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, just a short one. Just advising that our development charges background study to consider fire, road, and park and rec development charges is now posted on the website as of this afternoon. The public meeting for the development charges background study is June the 19th at 6:30 p.m.
Thank you.
You're right, 9 a.m. start, but opening ceremonies are 10.
Okay, thank you. Moving on then with presentations. This evening, we have Rob Foster present from Graham Scott Ends to give us a report on the 2024 consolidated financial statement. Rob, welcome to Bayham, and please assume a spot at the podium. It's all yours.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity to go through those statements with council and our audience. I think if we start with our auditor's report, so this is our page 2. This is our stamp on these financial statements, and I'll read our opinion for these statements. So it's in our opinion, the municipal's consolidated financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the municipality as at December 31st, 2024, and the results of its operations and its cash flows for the year then ended in accordance with Canadian public standards, accounting standards. And assuming though these would be approved tonight, they will be dated as of today, June 5th. We go to our page 4, which is the statement of financial position. I will note that these are consolidated financial statements, so they do include your proportionate share of water boards, cemeteries, those type of things. So there are some impacts on the numbers from those consolidated numbers coming in. We also have comparables for 23 along with the 2024 numbers. So in our cash, we do see that that's up a couple $1 million over the previous year. And that is in preparation for the debt payout. We were accumulating cash and not necessarily putting it into investments as we went along, but definitely as well, there is approximately $2 million of that cash that comes from consolidated water boards. just to be aware of that as well. Our investments, there was a little close to $1 million of transfer into the investments, as well as the actual return on investment, giving us the 8.4. Taxes receivable are up a little bit, mostly in the current taxes, not in prior years, and is consistent with what we're seeing amongst a number of the municipalities just for the 2024 year. Accounts receivable, consistent year to year. That would, the bulk of that being sewer water receivables, the Richmond debenture receivable, municipal drain grants, those type of things. So total financial assets of 15 million. Under our liabilities, deferred revenues, obligatory reserves, those development charges, parkland, the Canadian Community Building Fund, those type of things. In the in that fund, the development charges being the larger increase there. Very comparable accounts payable, accrued liabilities, just your normal trades, those type of things there. And we did have a significant increase in site plan apps as well as grading deposits in the year. No new debt taken on, but the debt that was there was paid down from 4.3 down to the 4.1 million. And that, as you're well aware, was subsequently paid out in March of this year. There is about $30,000 worth of water board debt included in that 4.1 million. So total net assets, almost $8 million, significant over the 5.3 from the year before. So a significant improvement year over year, let alone over multiple years. Our non-financial assets, so those are your tangible capital assets. We had approximately $2.1 million in additions in the year, and just under $2.1 million worth of amortization. So I think in the general terms of what the government had in mind by setting up tangible capital assets, for you to recognize how much of those are being used up either every year, and hopefully at least investing a similar amount in capital assets. So I think you're meeting that kind of thought process in the year. So total accumulated surplus of 67.892 million. And again, keeping in mind that the accumulated surplus is not an operating surplus. There's close to the $60 million worth of the tangible capital assets, as well as your reserves that are included in that surplus number. We go to our next page. That's our statement of operations and accumulated surplus. So we did have a few more dollars in subs versus write-offs in the year. So seeing our increase there above budget of a little over 100,000. User charges, we had some additional county projects. We had building permits, water usage, those type of things, giving us a bit more revenues than we had anticipated for budget. Under federal, we did unfortunately not get the grant we were hoping for. That's why we're seeing the significant reduction to budget on the federal grants. We did have more than we anticipated on provincial, those relating to drains and source water funding. And obviously a big benefit we saw in the year was our investment income, with interest rates being as high as they were last year, helping to add to the revenues on the investment side of things. So total revenues, 13.5 million. We'll get into the expenditure side. A little bit over budget on general government, some capital or computer support, a few legal, small salary component of that increase. Protection and services, we had the fire that did the costs for that were obviously higher than in previous years, seeing our over budget there. Under transportation services, so there were some road treatments, that sort of thing, drainage as well, that we're seeing giving us our slightly over budget in that area. Health services, cemetery maintenance being less than anticipated. So we're seeing surpluses in that category. And planning and development, again, as I'd mentioned, similar to the revenues under building projects and site plans, we did have consulting to offset that from an expense side as well. giving us our annual surplus of 2.6 versus the 3.5 budgeted number. We go to our next page, or page 6, which is the net change in financial assets. So that's where we take the annual surplus, subtract off any acquisition of assets, adding back amortization, and giving us a positive bottom line net asset change of almost 3.5 million, which is substantial on a year-over-year basis. Our next page is the statement of remeasurements, gains and losses. So because all those investments were in GICs, we don't have any unrealized gains or losses in the year. So that's why we're seeing zeros in that particular column. Our next page, page 8, is our statement of cash flows. So this just takes us from an accrual back to a cash basis. Where did our funds go in the year? Again, pretty standard from a municipal standpoint. Overall, you've got your acquisition of tangible capital assets of the 2.1. We did put some money, as I mentioned, into $1 million into our investment account. But still overall having a net positive cash flow of 2.1 million to add to the previous year's 2.5. We then get into our notes. So there was no changes in accounting policy for last year. So we can move our way through pretty quickly now, I think, to our page 15, our note 3. So we do show on those GICs the cost versus market. Obviously, they're the same. Where in previous years, when you were more in the bond fund, the one funds, there were differences between market and cost. I had mentioned on the receivable side, the larger portion being up relating to current assets. The next page is the continuity of those tangible capital assets. Obviously, a lot of lines there, but basically showing our additions, any disposals, and the amortization by the various categories. So I mentioned a net of 2.1 million in additions and 2.068 million in amortization. The next page is the same thing from the previous year, so we won't worry about that. Note 7, so that is our long-term debt. As I've mentioned, the 4.1 million being paid out in March of this year. There's a note of that in note D at the bottom. Our page 19 being the accumulated surplus. So as I mentioned, it is 67 million, but the vast majority of that being invested in tangible capital assets as well as reserves and reserve funds. The actual municipal surplus deficit in the year gets rolled into reserves. I think if we go to our page 21, note 12. So it is always important to note that when council does their budget, there is no amortization included in the budget. It's a cash-based budget. Whereas PSAB, the numbers we're presenting, do require it to be switched over to include any depreciation, and any transfer from reserves or capital wouldn't be considered expenditure or revenue. So those are the adjustments we're making to the budget. So obviously, from an operating standpoint or cash budget basing, you didn't budget for a surplus, you budgeted for zero, which is required. But when we convert it over to PSAB, that's where we see the surplus being generated. I think those were the main notes that I wanted to cover off in the year. So I would be happy to take any questions if there are any specifically on the financial statements.
Thank you very much for that presentation, Rob. It looks pretty good from my seat. I'm going to ask council, anyone have any questions for Rob at this time? Rob, when you went through your analysis here of BAM's books and things, obviously you didn't find any errors or irregularities, and you're comfortable with where things are sitting. Any recommendation you have for this council moving forward?
Well, I think the first thing that I'd like to say is that this council and management and the ratepayers themselves should all be congratulated on the sacrifices that you made in order to get that debt paid down to zero. I think it puts you in a tremendous position to take advantage of whatever opportunities from a funding standpoint might come to this province and to this municipality. I think in today's world to make those sacrifices, that was very, I am conservative, but a very, forward thinking, in my opinion. I think you've put the future residents first, and I congratulate you on making those decisions, as well as as I say, sacrifices that the taxpayers have made to get there.
Well, thank you very much for that, Rob, and certainly appreciate that. And of course, yes, I think this council recognizes that it's the ratepayers that made the sacrifice here and helped us achieve this goal. We're looking ahead. So thank you for those comments. Anyone else?
We also included what we call our audit findings letter. So that's basically so this is our stamp on the financial statements. The auditor's finding letter is basically talking about internal controls, those type of things. We do test all of the systems in place that the municipality has in order to ensure that everything is properly functioning. And in all those testings, we didn't find any errors or omission in that regard. So nothing to report in the audit findings letter either.
Again, that is good news.
Absolutely is.
Perfect. Good. All right. Well, thank you again for that. And I don't know if we're the first off for going through the audits, but
First one this year, so yes,
well, there we are.
congratulations.
Those of us from the east are leading the way, huh?
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Rob. Thank you very much. You're welcome. If there isn't anything further, then I have a motion that reads that the presentation from Rob Foster, Graham Scott ends regarding the 2024 consolidated financial statements be received for information, and that the 2024 financial statements be approved as presented, and that the chair be directed to sign the audit finding letters. Moved by Deputy Mayor Weiser, seconded by Councillor Chilcott. All in favor? That's unanimous, and it's carried. Thank you. Moving on, we have no delegations this evening, so we'll move on to adoption of minutes of the previous meeting. There are 3 sets of minutes, including the regular meeting of council held May the 15th, the statutory planning meeting held May the 15th, and the quarter revision meeting held May the 15th. Those minutes have been circulated, and everyone, I think and hope, have had opportunity to peruse them. If there are no errors or omissions, I would entertain a mover and seconder for the following. That the minutes from the regular meeting of council held May the 1st, should be May the 15th, shouldn't it? May the 15th, 2025, minutes from the statutory planning meeting held May the 15th, 2025, and the minutes of the quarter revision held May the 15th, 2025 be approved as presented. Moved by Deputy Mayor Weiser, seconded by Councillor Emerson. All in favor? That's carried. Brings us down to section 12, development services. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything here. Yeah, okay. Section 12, development services, sustainability and conservation, 12.1 correspondence, and 12.1.1 to receive for information, 3 items. Item A, notice of passing regarding the zoning bylaw amendment ZBA 2724 at 1498855 Ontario Inc. Item B, notice of adoption regarding the official plan amendment number 39 OPA 0424 1498855 Ontario Inc. And item C, notice of public meeting regarding proposed zoning bylaw amendment ZBA 1525 Newfeld. Anyone have any questions or concerns about these information items? If not, mover and seconder that items 12.1.1A through C be received for information. Moved by Councillor Chilcott, seconded by Councillor Froese. All in favor? Thank you. That's carried. 12.2, reports to council. Item A, we have report DS 2625 by Margaret Underhill, Planning Coordinator, Deputy Clerk, regarding consent application E94-24 and E96-24, U at 55 Wellington Street. Good evening, Mark.
Good evening, Your Worship, and good evening, Council. Through Your Worship to Council, the report before you for consent applications E94-24 and E96-24 originally started out as 3 applications. However, the parcel at 55 Wellington Street, 3 severance applications could not be supported by staff because it would have ended up with dramatically decreased size of lots. And servicing was a concern, the lot size was a concern, and it could not be supported. And we discussed that through a pre-consultation meeting with the landowner back in September. The applications at County Land Division at that point were deferred in December, and the applications were revised, coming back with E94-24 and E96-24. And they have since then been reviewed by municipal planner and staff. So the subject property is designated as residential. It is within the village boundaries of Port Burwell. The applications propose to sever and create 2 lots and retain 1 parcel with an existing 1-story single detached dwelling. To note, in order to facilitate the creation of lot number 1, which is application E94-24, the retained dwellings attached garage has to be removed, which the owner originally proposed that in their application. Land Division Committee will consider the applications on June the 25th. So the planner's memorandum dated May 26 analyzes the applications subject to our official plan and our zoning bylaw and is attached to this report. Standard conditions would include digital survey, cash in lieu payment for the creation of a lot, stormwater management and grading plan, and the planning report fee. The civic addressing signage will be the homeowner's responsibility to purchase the assigned 2-digit numbers to affix to the dwelling. That area of Port Burwell is not on the blue and white numbered signs like other areas in municipality, much like parts of Vienna and so on. So other conditions that apply, including removal of structures, installation of services, access permit. There is a minor variance application required for the proposed lot number 1 to permit a reduced minimum lot frontage of 11 meters, whereas they would normally need 15, as well as the proposed retained lot number 2 to permit a reduced minimum side yard width of 1.08 meters on the west side, normally would require 1.2. And staff and the municipal planner recommend the support of the consent applications to create the 2 additional building lots with the recommended conditions before you. And I leave it with you, Your Worship.
All right, thank you very much for that presentation, Marg. Does anyone have any questions, concerns? All right, seeing none, we have a motion before us. It reads. Lots of conditions there, Marg.
Do you want to tag team this one or?
Yeah, let's see how long my voice will hold down here. All right, here we go. That report DS 2625 regarding the consent applications E94-24 and E96-24 U be received. And that council recommends to the Elgin County Land Division Committee that consent application E94-24 be granted, subject to the following conditions and considerations. Number 1, that the owner obtains approval of a minor variance application for the proposed severed lot number 1, permit the reduced minimum lot frontage of 11 meters, and approval of a minor variance for the proposed retained lot number 2 to permit a reduced minimum side yard width of 1.08 meters on the west side. Number 2, that the owner obtains a demolition permit to remove the existing attached garage and from the existing house on the retained lot number 2. Number 3, that the owner removes the existing attached garage and removes all debris in accordance with the demolition permit on lot number 2 and removes all other existing accessory structures from the property located on proposed severed lot number 1. Number 4, that the owner obtains permits from the municipality and installs a new municipal water and sanitary service connection to the proposed severed lot number 1. Number 5, that the owner provides confirmation with respect to the location of the existing municipal water and sanitary service connections to the retained lot number 2. Should the existing servicing laterals cross the proposed property lines, the owner shall obtain a permit from the municipality for the installation of a new municipal water and sanitary service connection to the retained lot number 2. Number 6, that the owner obtains approval from the municipality for a road entrance permit, Wellington Street, for a new access to be proposed to the proposed severed lot number 1. Number 7, that the owner provides an engineered grading, drainage, and stormwater management plan for the severed lot number 1 and the retained lot number 2 to demonstrate that the lands will drain properly with no negative impacts on the neighboring lands or the street, all to the satisfaction of the municipality. Number 8, that the owner initiate and assume, if required, all engineering costs associated with the preparation of a revised assessment schedule for a municipal drain, Wellington Street Drain, in accordance with the Drainage Act, RSO 1990, as amended, with a deposit to be paid in full to the municipality prior to the condition being deemed fulfilled. If the deposit does not cover the cost of the revised assessment schedule, the owner will be billed for any additional costs incurred. Number 9, that the owner pay fees as required in the municipal bylaw number 2020-053, cash in lieu of parkland. 10, that the owner provides a digital copy of a survey of the subject lands. Number 11, that the owner provides a planning report fee due and payable to the municipality of Bayham upon the county granting the consent. And that Council recommend to the Elgin County Land Division Committee that consent application E96-24 be granted subject to the following conditions and considerations. 1, that the owner obtains a permit from the municipality for the installation of a new municipal water and sanitary service connection to the proposed severed lot number 3. 2, that the owner provides confirmation with respect to the location of the existing municipal water and sanitary service connections to the retained lot number 2. Should the existing service laterals cross the proposed property lines, the owner shall obtain a permit from the municipality of Bayham for the installation of a new municipal water and sanitary service connection to the retained parcel. Number 3, that the owner obtains approval from the municipality of Bayham for road entrance permit, Wellington Street, for a new access to the proposed severed lot number 3. Number 4, that the owner provides an engineered grading, drainage, and stormwater management plan for severed lot number 3 and the retained lot number 2 to demonstrate that the lands will drain properly with no negative impacts on the neighboring lands or the street, all to the satisfaction of the municipality of Bayham. Number 5, that the owner initiate and assume, if required, all engineering costs associated with the preparation of a revised assessment schedule for a municipal drain, Wellington Street Drain, in accordance with the Drainage Act, RSO 1990, as amended, with a deposit to be paid in full to the municipality prior to the condition being deemed fulfilled. If the deposit does not cover the cost of the revised assessment schedule, the owner will be billed for any additional costs incurred. Number 6, that the owner pays fees as required in the municipal bylaw number 2020-053, cash in lieu of parkland. Number 7, that the owner provides a digital copy of a survey of the subject lands. And number 8, that the owner provides a planning report fee due and payable to the municipality of Bayham upon the county granting the consent.
Your worship, there is a correction that we have to make.
I'm not reading it all over again, Mark.
Oh,
What have you got?
the cash in lieu of parkland bylaw. I've quoted the wrong bylaw number.
All right,
Should be 2025.
007.
Yeah, thank you.
2025-007.
Yes. That would be in both.
007.
That would be in both. My apologies for that.
Thank you. Thought we had a new one, but that's
Yeah.
okay.
Thank you.
As amended. Do I have a mover and seconder for that?
Not true, at least.
Councilor Emerson will move it. Councilor Froese will second that. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Not as many conditions in the next one, Marg.
Nope. Go to the public meeting.
Oh, I guess we're going to recess from our regular schedule.
We have 7:30.
And it is 7:30, and I will call the proposed, statutory planning meeting to order. Be dealing with a proposed zoning bylaw amendment ZBA 1525 Newfeld at 56132 Howie Line. So I'll remind members of disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. The purpose of the proposed amendment, again, is zoning bylaw amendment ZBA 15-/25 Newfeld at 56132 Howie Line. Purpose of this bylaw amendment is to rezone the subject property from estate residential zone to site-specific estate residential zone to permit the construction of a secondary accessory building which requires relief from the following provisions. Section 8.13.x to permit a maximum cumulative floor area for accessory buildings of 210 square meters, where a maximum of 95 square meters or 8% lot coverage, whichever is lesser, is required under section 8.10.2. Section 8.13.x to permit a minimum lot area of 0.27 hectares, whereas 0.4 hectares is required under section 8.3. The subject property is known as 56132 Howie Line, northeast corner. The northeast corner property at the intersection of Plank Road and Howie Line, Maple Grove Line. Prose sometimes doesn't make sense. The effect of this bylaw is to permit a new accessory building that exceeds the maximum floor area requirements for the storage of personal recreational vehicles and belongings, and to recognize an existing lot area that is under the required area for the ER zone. At this point, I will call for any public participation in this public meeting. Anyone wishing to speak to this application, please step forward to the podium, sign in, and have your say. Okay, I'm not seeing anyone taking up the challenge. I see there's no correspondence with this particular application. No other business, which then brings us to the adjournment. That the zoning bylaw be considered at a future meeting of council, and that pursuant to the Planning Act requirements, the public meeting for zoning application ZBA 1525 is now complete at 7:33 PM. Do I have a mover and seconder for that? Councillor Emerson will move, Councillor Chilcott will second. All in favor? And that is carried. Now we will return to our regular scheduled meeting. We left off at 12.2, reports to council, item B. Report DS 27/25 by Margaret Underhill, Planning Coordinator, Deputy Clerk, regarding rezoning application ZBA 0225 Van Ittersum at 12011 Elliott Road. Marg?
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you to council, the report before you is for rezoning a property at 12011 Elliott Road. The owners have submitted the zoning application to rezone their property for the purpose of permitting the development of a replacement accessory building. The subject property is to be rezoned from the estate residential ER to a site-specific estate residential ER-14 zone to permit the accessory building, and they require relief from section 8.10.2 to permit a cumulative maximum floor area for accessory buildings of 197 square meters, whereas 95 square meters is required in the bylaw. The effect of the bylaw is to permit this construction, and the building is going to be used for the storage of personal items. And the public meeting was held on May the 15th. There were no signed-in attendees and no written comments. The planner's memorandum dated May 28th, 2025 does review the application with the municipality's official plan and zoning. And as well, there was a scoped environmental impact study that was required because the lands are located within a designated significant woodland. So the building is to be replaced. It's on the edge of the significant woodland due to the proximity of this natural feature. The scoped EIS was required to demonstrate that the proposed development will not result in a negative impact to the feature or its ecological functions. The scoped EIS was prepared by North South Environmental Inc. It was peer reviewed, and the review comments are included in the Arcadis memorandum attached to this report. Staff recommend that the scoped EIS mitigating measures be considered during the building permit review for the proposed accessory structure. For example, the building permit is only for construction outside of the active bird breeding window of April 1st to August 31st to minimize potential contravention of the Migratory Birds Convention Act and its regulation. And there are other items in the scoped EIS that building permit review will deal with. There were no public comments received. Only one agency comment was received from Southwestern Public Health in support of the proposal. Staff and planner concur the rezoning application meets the policies, recommend approval to change the zoning to the site-specific ER 14, and it's before you for consideration.
Thank you, Mark, for that presentation. Does anyone have any questions? All right, seeing none, then we'll dispose of this particular item through motion. And it reads that report DS 2725 regarding the Van Ittersum rezoning application ZBA 0225 be received for information. And that pursuant to Planning Act Regulations Bill 73 Smart Growth for Our Communities Act 2015, it be pointed out that at the public participation meeting held May the 14th, 2025, associated with this application, there was,
May the 15th. Thank you.
Yes. Let's get that straight. There were no oral presentations and no written public submissions regarding this matter, and that all considerations were taken into account in council's decision passing this resolution, and that zoning bylaw number Z 456/2003 as amended be further amended by changing the zoning on lands located at lot 15 concession 10, municipally identified as 12011 Elliott Road, from estate residential ER to site-specific estate residential ER-14 zone to permit the development of an accessory storage building on the subject property for the storage of personal recreational vehicles and personal belongings, which requires relief from the following provisions. Section 8.10.2 to permit a cumulative maximum floor area for accessory buildings of 197 square meters, whereas 95.0 square meters is required. And that zoning bylaw number Z 808-2025 be presented to council for enactment. Do I have a mover and seconder for the amended motion? Councillor Chilcott and Deputy Mayor Weisler. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Moving on with section 13, finance and administration, 13.1 correspondence, and 13.11 to receive for information. Several items. Item A, Town of the Blue Mountains regarding the reduced provincial tax rate on Ontario-made cider. Item B, Municipality of Kincardine regarding Bill 5, Protect Ontario by Unleashing Our Economy Act. Item C, Town of Orangeville regarding responsible growth in opposition to elements of Bill 5. D, Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing regarding Bill 17, Protect Ontario by Building Faster and Smarter Act 2025. E, Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing regarding a technical briefing on Bill 17, Protect Ontario by Building Faster and Smarter Act 2025. F, Watson and Associates regarding an assessment of Bill 17, Protect Ontario by Building Faster and Smarter Act 2025. G, Ministry of the Solicitor General regarding OPP cost recovery model review. And H, Ministry of Natural Resources regarding the reintroduction of the Geologic Carbon Storage Act. Any pieces or any item of correspondence anyone want to bring to anyone's attention, make comment on? Sounds good. Need a mover and seconder for the following, that items 13.11A through H be received for information. Councillor Emerson will move that. Councillor Chilcott will second that. All in favor? Which is carried, which brings us to you. 13.2 reports to council. We have report TR 1325 by Lauren James, Treasurer, regarding the 2026 budget schedule.
Good evening, Your Worship. Before you and council is our 26 budget schedule. It is a little bit later timeline than the prior years. Our budget consultation period opens up effectively after this report and goes until September 30th. With a 10-year capital plan for November the 4th and the 2-year operating 26 and 27 levy supported on January the 6th, with an open house following on January the 15th. Unlike the past year, this year will not be truncated as in waiting for certain events, a timeline, reports. There isn't anything truly on our financial horizon the rest of the year that would impact production or delivery date of these schedules. Other than that, I'll leave the report to council and any questions.
All right, boilerplate, essentially, housekeeping. Any questions for the treasurer on this? Okay. I would say, once this motion's passed, get the portal open, start receiving comments.
Email in.
All right, encourage everyone to participate. Okay, then we have a motion that reads report TR 1325 regarding the 2026 budget schedule be received for information, and that the proposed budget guidelines be approved, and that the following dates be established for the 2026 budget process. June the 5th through till September 30th, 2025, budget public consultation period. On Tuesday, November the 4th, 2025, the 2026 to 2035 capital budget meeting. On Tuesday, January the 6th, 2026, will be the 2026 operating budget meeting. And then Thursday, January the 15th, 2026, will be the budget open house. We have a mover and seconder for that? I got Councillor Chilcott and Deputy Mayor Weisler, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Item, we have, it's not on our schedule here, is it? Are you going next, Thomas? or-
I can, or we can skip to C and D, which are also the treasurer's reports, if you just want to do
Let's
all
do
of
it
them.
that way. Right?
Thank you, Your Worship.
Make him wait? No, we'll be kind to him.
I've been there before.
We have report TR 1425 by Lauren James regarding the banking services agreement. Lauren, please.
Thank you, your kindness, council, for not like making me wait. So the banking services agreement is before you. The report proposes to renew with Royal Bank. It's fairly straightforward. We've had phenomenal service with Royal Bank. They've been our trusted advisor on a multitude of things, from day-to-day banking operations, credit facilities, lines of credit, as well as our credit card products for municipal staff. They give us one of the highest yields on our investor return. They continually work for us, as well as our cemeteries and other boards. So our agreement has lapsed. We've continued the agreement. They gave us a proposal 2 weeks ago. It's before council, and staff are recommending to renew with Royal Bank for a 5-year term.
All right, thank you, Lauren. Does anyone have any questions, concerns? Councilor Frost.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. What is their yield return right now? Do you know? And then
So-
on investments?
Our investments, our yield return right now is 3.19. And that is sustained because the Bank of Canada did not move interest rates yesterday.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns? Okay. I would say that we've had a pretty good business relationship with this service provider, and I certainly accept your advice on that one. Okay, if we have no further questions, I gotta find the right one here. Have a motion that reads a report TR 1425 regarding banking services agreement we received for information. And that council of the corporation municipality of Bayham accepts the banking services proposal from the Royal Bank of Canada on a 5-year term expiring on May the 31st, 2030, and that the appropriate authorizing bylaw be presented to council for enactment. We have a mover and seconder for that. Councillor Emerson and Councillor Froese. All in favor? Carried. We could make you sit down now, Lauren, or we could carry on.
Don't
with-
tell me there's a drainage meeting tonight.
You want a drainage meeting?
No, your worship.
We have report TR 1525 by Lauren James Treasurer regarding the municipal auditor appointment. Lauren, please.
Your worship again in council, another boilerplate report. Our municipal auditor appointment or reappointment is up. Graham Scott Inns has finished their 2024 audit as council's aware with the draft statements presented tonight and going on our website tomorrow. Staff are recommending the reappointment of Graham Scott Inns. Just to give council some backstory, Graham Scott Inns has been our auditor for 26 years since amalgamation. Rob Foster has been the engagement partner during that duration. A number of items through the history of amalgamation, Rob has been also a trusted advisor, as well as a resource for the committee chairman and the audit committee chairman through the years. Staff have no reason to change out or put it up for tender, RFP, or Q. Rob has also provided a quotation and for the next 5 years, which is very competitive. Previously, I was an auditor at one time in my past life, being a chartered accountant, and Rob's rates are very competitive for our population, and also compared to some recent quotations out there from areas like Waynfleet, similar population, and other areas. We're getting very good value for our population size. He also has continuity of our files, has consistent work, performs consistently, and has aligned also with council's expectations and as well as management's expectations. He is one of the leading firms in the area for PSAB, so that's Public Standard Accounting Practice, practicing. And they have multiple municipal engagements ranging from single tiers, lower tiers, upper tiers, as well as other entities in the MUSH sector, municipalities, universities, schools, hospital criteria. So staff tonight are recommending reappointment for the next 5 years. Rob will continue being our engagement partner over that 5 years. And at that time, for our next one in 5 years, we'll see who the new engagement partner will be for audit.
All right, thank you, Lauren, for that report. Does anyone have any questions? Just for clarity, in reading Rob's engagement letter here or petition, you or your staff have been providing or preparing our FIRs for the last several years.
So staff provides Rob a complete set of financials with no adjusting entries, complete set of working papers for the unconsolidated and consolidated entities, complete set of working papers for all the cemeteries, care and maintenance and trust accounts, direction on any accounting policy or changes that have impacted the municipality, as well as completion of the FIR and any other applicable provincial reporting.
So they do the FIR.
We do.
All right, that's the question I had because if
We've done the FIR. I've done the FIR for 11 years now.
that's correct, that's why I wanted it out there because it mentioned that this quote does not include the FIR.
Previously, when I was hired in 2014, the FIR was done by Graham Scott Inns because there was a lap between the previous treasurer and,
Right.
and my hiring.
Right. Okay. Any questions from anyone else? All right. There we go. Motion reads that report TR 1525 regarding municipal auditor appointment be received for information, and that council of the corporation and municipality of Bayham accepts the proposal and fees submitted by Graham Scott Ends LLP for municipal auditor services for 2025 to 2029 inclusive, and that the appropriate appointment bylaw be presented to council for enactment. Do I have a mover and seconder for that? See Councillor Emerson and Councillor Froese. Will second. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Worship.
Thank you, Lauren. Okay. Backing up to report CAO 2625 by Thomas Thayer, CAO, regarding the extension of site plan agreement Latimer at 54296 Heritage Line, SPA 0223.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Quick information report for council. So in 2023, we approved a site plan agreement with Craig and Elizabeth Latimer to expand their existing storage building and shop on their subject property. The agreement at the time noted that the development was to be completed in full by May 30th of 2025. So we have entered into an extending agreement with the Latimers to extend until October 31st of this year. The extension was requested by the proponent due to scheduling uncertainty related to their surveyor to assess and confirm the general conformity of the constructed grades on the property in accordance with the approved lot grading and drainage plan. So really, it's just a 5-month extension to ensure that their surveyor can come out and finalize the project. They're very close. So presented to council for information only.
All right, thank you for that. Does anyone have any questions? Councillor, excuse me, Deputy Mayor.
All good. Through you, Mr. Mayor. Just a question, if 5 months is long enough, we've seen these extensions sometimes take a little bit longer.
They really only need a couple of months. In discussion with Marg and the proponent, we decided to give them an extra few just for that buffer space, but they really only requested a couple. So we're not concerned at this point.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay. Seeing no further questions, a motion would read that report CAO 2625 regarding extension to site plan agreement Latimer at 54296 Heritage Line, Stratfordville, application number SPA 0223 be received for information. Mover and seconder, please. Deputy Mayor Weiser. Councillor Froese. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Back to the addendum, right? Which brings us to site, no. Yes.
27. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we are looking at CAO 2725 letter of support regarding the health and safety water stream. Thomas, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This report is very similar to one that council would have received earlier this year for the Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund. So the health and safety water stream is a provincial grant and is providing about 175 million in funding under the Municipal Housing Infrastructure Program. So municipalities are eligible to apply, have to meet certain criteria that have been identified in the report. Municipalities may apply for up to 73% of eligible funding costs, with the remaining 27% to be funded by the municipality through whatever means it deems appropriate. The application deadline is coming up here shortly on June the 26th, and projects have to be substantially complete by March 31st of 2029 to align with the end of that fiscal year. So the municipality is a joint partner with the Port Burwell area water supply system. And we're looking to make a similar joint application with Malahide and with Central Elgin in support of the rehabilitation required on the 7-kilometer stretch of the transmission main on Nova Scotia line. The reason why this is being contemplated is because the Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund grant is federal. This grant is stackable with it. So if we're able to be successful with one or both, is potentially a significant savings to our water system ratepayers and also for the Port Burwell secondary in general. We've had some ongoing discussions with Malahide and Central Elgin on this. Malahide is certainly on board. I believe Central has a report going to their council on the 16th of June to contemplate this and potentially other projects. municipalities are only permitted to make one application to this grant program, and a joint application is considered to be that one application. So we're looking for council's direction on a letter of support for this grant program. My understanding is on June the 18th, this will be going to the Port Burwell Area Secondary Water Supply System Board of Management for their consideration as a board. But a letter of support from each of the individual participating municipalities adds extra substance to the application. So the recommendation is for council to authorize the mayor to execute a letter of support for this grant application. And Mr. Mayor, I'll leave it with you and council to discuss.
All right. Thank you, Thomas. I would note that this grant is dependent upon a start date of no later than June 30th, 2026. Kind of accelerates the program coming forward.
Yeah, yes, it does. We have this is upcoming in our capital project capital program. We think realistically we'd be able to squeeze it in there in the time frame that they've put out there. And I would note that the Port Burwell Area Secondary Water Supply System Board of Management has issued the engineering RFP already. So we're working with them on that project on that process.
Should the combined municipal application not be successful, then are we tied to that 2026 start date?
If we are not successful with this grant application, we are not tied to that start date. If we get the Canada Housing Infrastructure Grant, we'd be tied to, their parameters instead. And if we don't get either, then we would be tied to, our own joint parameters as a board.
All right. Okay. I like this particular application for just the concept of how it, I think it fits in with the provincial objectives of trying to find synergies. And this is a natural system where you have three municipalities working together, trying to remediate infrastructure. I think it hits home with what the province has been pushing, and I think there's a good opportunity here. So I would be in favor of doing this. Any other comments, concerns? Councillor Emerson, you're on the secondary board. Sounds good to
No,
you?
I think we should be moving forward with this recommendation.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Seeing no further comments, then the motion would read the report CAO 2725 regarding letter of support, the health and safety water stream be received for information. That council, the corporation municipality of BAM supports BAM's participation in joint application to the health and safety water stream for the rehabilitation of the Port Burwell Area Secondary Water Supply Systems transmission main on Nova Scotia line. And that the mayor be authorized to prepare and sign a letter of support from BAM for the HSWS application. Can I have a mover and seconder? Councillor Emerson will move that. Deputy Mayor Weiser will second that. All in favor? Carried. Good. Moving on with the report CAO 2825 by Thomas Thayer, CAO regarding site plan agreement at it's 1708804 Ontario Inc., otherwise known as Tito's Pizza at 6231 Plank Road, Vienna, application number SPA 0425. Thomas, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This site plan agreement was executed last Friday for Tito's Pizza. So the site plan control was required due to a change in use in an existing structure in the Central Business District C1 zone. The intent of the site plan application was to pave the abutting parking lot, confirm lot drainage and slopes, and identify snow storage, parking spaces, flow of traffic, and location of a garbage receptacle on the property to ensure proper servicing. Staff reviewed the complete application with no concerns, and there were no concerns noted by Elgin County in respect of existing access onto Plank Road. The site plan agreement, as noted, was executed on May the 30th, and this is provided for information purposes only under delegated authority.
All right, thank you for that. Any questions? Seeing none, motion reads that report CAO 2825 regarding site plan agreement at 1708804 Ontario Inc., otherwise known as Tito's Pizza at 6231 Plank Road, Vienna. Application number SPA 0425 be received for information. Mover and seconder, please. Councillor Emerson, Councillor Froese. Will second. All in favor? carried. Is that it for the additions? Apparently it is. Moving on to section 14 bylaws. 3 bylaws. Bylaw number 1, bylaw number, bylaw A. Bylaw number Z 808 2025 being a bylaw to amend bylaw number Z 456 2003 as amended, Van Ittersum. B, bylaw number 2025-043 being a bylaw to authorize a banking services agreement between the corporation, municipality of BAM and RBC Royal Bank. And item C, bylaw number 2025-044 being a bylaw to appoint a municipal auditor for the municipality of BAM. Does anyone have any concerns or with regards to any of these bylaws? Need a mover and seconder for the following, that bylaw numbers 2025-043, 2025-044, and Z 808-2025 be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed. Councillor Chilcott will move. Councillor Emerson will second. All in favor? Carried. Don't believe we have any unfinished business or other business this evening, which brings us to the confirming bylaw. Mover and seconder for the following, that confirming bylaw number 2025-042 be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed. Councillor Chilcott will move. Deputy Mayor Weiser will second. All in favor? That's carried, which brings us to the adjournment motion. That the council meeting be adjourned at 8:01 p.m. Councillor Froese moves that. But I don't see anyone willing to second. Councillor Emerson.
Beat ya.
All in favor?
8:01.
That is carried. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. And have a pleasant evening, and we'll see you next time. And don't forget to show up for Edison Fest, particularly for the axe throwing contest.
Still up early.
Yeah.